You're not going to offer to buy every painting in here so I can close up early?
A woman that can be bought isn't worth having.
In 2011, a match-fixing scandal rocked the world of sumo wrestling. Pegged as the biggest crisis in modern history, at least 3 wrestlers were thought to have eased up on matches in order to help other wrestlers achieve an 8-7 record and avoid demotion. Allegations of wrestlers gambling on various sports led to the expulsion of over a dozen wrestlers and an unprecedented cancellation of the Grand Sumo Tournament, something that hadn't happened since World War II. If you've never been to a sumo basho wrestling event, it is absolutely exhilarating. On the right is Asa Shoyu, possibly one of the best 3 or 4 sumo wrestlers to ever do it. And maybe some would have said he was the best wrestler ever until the gentleman on the left, Hakuho, began wrestling. They're both Mongolian, but it doesn't matter. They were so good that when their matches came on the television, the country literally stopped. And it's a representation of the fact that if you would cancel a tournament this popular over scandals that threaten the integrity of the sport, it speaks to the fact that no matter how much money is lost, the integrity of the sport is more important than money lost.
Kobe, you've been pretty critical of the AAU system and the way American players are brought up.
Not pretty critical, I'm extremely critical. I hate it. Because it doesn't teach our players how to play the right way. How to think the game, how to play in combinations of threes. I think everything is it's a reward system.
This is the late great Kobe Bryant speaking of the ills of the AAU system. He doesn't like it, and he's going to explain precisely why.
It's just a showcase.
Do you feel like
it's absolutely horrible for the game.
The young guys that are coming up, do you feel like the game is kind of stiff, whereas when your guys were more skilled?
Yeah, but I think that was just by luck in the generation that I grew up in. You know what I mean? Because like my generation is when the AAU basketball really started becoming, you know, and I got lucky because I grew up in Europe.
Right.
Everything there was still fundamental, so I learned all the basics. And I think we're doing a tremendous disservice to our young basketball players right now. And that's something that definitely needs to be fixed.
As you probably already know, I coached youth basketball here in Japan for more than a decade. I played in high school. I played a summer of AAU basketball before I dropped it to get serious about my books and get ready for college. And even the summer that I played it was just a group of guys that had played on the high school team that wanted something fun to do for the summer. At the time that we were playing AAU, we had no concept of the fact that AAU would itself become even bigger than high school basketball and become the main pathway through which many guys get to the NBA. And coaches like Gino Ariyama lament it.
I have a hard time watching high school kids play or younger kids play because they're more talented than ever. They're better athletes than ever. They can do more things than kids 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But they're not better basketball players because this coach or that system has them playing 6 games on Saturday and they practice once that week. It's totally opposite of what they do in Europe, where you will practice 6 days and you will play once. Like I coached the boys AAU team, okay? My son was on it. We had 5 Division I players on it. We had 3 kids that went pro. And then 2 of the kids said, I'm not playing. I said, why not? I said, well, I'm playing on another team. Why? Well, it turns out we practice every Tuesday and Thursday like clockwork. Well, the other coach told him, you don't have to practice, just show up for games.
Although as Americans, we can't say that we invented basketball, we certainly popularized it. And to see a picture like this of a young kid essentially palming the basketball, people will say it's the new way that basketball is played. And you have a point there. But I would say that the new form of basketball is star player gets basketball, does a lot of dribbling, makes a very difficult shot attempt, and the other 4 guys try to get the rebound and they play very hard defense. And if the team wins, it's the stars' credit. And if they lose, then the other 4 guys didn't play hard enough. And that is kind of the way that we do everything. We take something and make it really awesome, really cool as Americans because we have a knack for being flashy, thinking outside the box, creating really cool stuff. But then we take that cool thing and we boil it down to its least common denominator.
The truth about romance is that it's a strategy that lower status men have adopted in their attempt to compete successfully with higher status men for women. This is also why romance is a young man's game, because most young men don't have anything to offer women, but they still want to get laid. And if it works, it's a pretty slick game, because I, a lower status man, would have convinced you, an attractive woman, that this intangible feeling in my chest is actually more valuable and important to you than all the resources and opportunity that a higher status man could provide for you.
I remember when I was younger and I bought this album, I listened to it and I think about my girlfriend at the time, and this strong feeling of romantic love would come over me. And it was such an innocent thing at the time, but now you listen to certain TikToks like the one you just saw, and that becomes, oh, you're broke, you don't have any money, which I didn't at the time. You should just stay over there because you're broke and you're just trying to manipulate us. And it's just another way that we have something really clever like romantic love, which we did really well in R&B music as black men. And it's become pay for play. Unfortunately, reducing things to their least common denominator is not only seen in basketball and in dating and romance, but it's also seen in new age parenting.
What do you say too if your kids wanted to follow your dreams? It's like you just said, school ain't the way. YouTube could be the pay.
Yeah.
If your kids, would you lean your kids to say, hey, create content versus going to get an education?
Yeah, they're already in the works of having YouTube channels. My daughter, shout out to J-Dub Way. She has a channel. She has a channel herself, so she's upcoming. Just being in the, the internet's light for so long, she's just like, it's just immune now. She's like, oh my God, it's just like I want to do videos, I want to create, I want to show people my talent, or I could do nails, I could do hair. So more so, it's just more showing what you can teach other people. As
a mother, it's certainly her right to let her children both use and profit off of social media. But when she downplays education, she's basically saying that be someone who can make money now as soon as possible, because that's the only thing that matters. And sure, making money does matter, but having a childhood matters, and getting an education while you're a child matters. And it's very interesting that the young lady said that her daughter wants to teach people things, because there are kids being taught things. A great way to study a foreign language is to find an elementary school textbook or vocabulary list and learn it. Looking online, I found one for Chinese that's helping me study and is tremendous. All of the 350 characters you see listed on these web pages are required learning for every first grader in China. To me, Star Wars is a perfect microcosm of how we do least common denominator culture, where we start with a fantastic idea. Star Wars is an outside-of-the-box type of space drama that is inconceivable, which is why it blew us away. And it features a unassuming, mild-mannered Luke Skywalker who becomes a great Jedi, and we can all identify with wanting to walk that path. But then it gets turned into a money grab, and the main character that we all looked up to and enjoyed watching his journey gets turned into a kind of side act. And it's a ploy to do things other than tell stories that make young boys want to go to the theater and live adventures in their head. And to me, this is one of the things that unfortunately we do with pretty much all of our culture. We see it in hip hop, we've seen it in basketball, we see it in music, wherever you look. Something starts as a great idea, and we take that idea and milk it and boil it down to the very essence of what it looks like, or what most people would like to enjoy on the surface. And all of the things that made it what it was get stripped away from it. And what is distressing to me as we reduce the pillars of our culture down to their least common denominator, be it parenting, be it romance, or even the sports that we enjoy, we're watching places around the world where they're preserving and even accelerating their preservation of things like recreation in sumo, or even education in China. We can't say what the disparities between our reducing our cultures down to their least common denominator while other cultures are preserving the pillars of theirs mean for us in the future, but I'm sure we'll see very soon. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care, guys.